0 to 10 means it will start the 0. You have to count from 0 is also a 1. So that's why 10 minus 1, it is 9. Yeah.
The pandas data frame. Data frame is most widely used data structure in data analysis. It is a table with rows and columns, with rows having an index and columns having meaningful names. Creating data frames from dictionaries. There are various ways of creating data frames, such as creating them from dictionaries, Johnson object, reading from text, CSV files. Whereas in pandas, they support different file formats. Whereas we can go for CSV file format, Excel file format, JSON file format, and Pangged formats. But CSV file format are mostly used. The various creating data frames, such as creating them dictionaries. So here we are assigning a data frame with the name, age, and occupation. When we ask for the data frame, we directly get it assigns index from 0. Importing CSV data file as pandas data frame. For upcoming exercises, we'll use dataset of retail store having detail about the order placed, customer, product details, sales, and profit, etc. Reading a CSV file as a data frame. So we first need to load a CSV file. Usually data frames are imported as CSV files, but sometimes it's more convenient to convert dictionaries into data frames. For example, when the raw data is in Johnson format, which is not uncommon, you can easily convert into a dictionary and then into a data frame. You will learn how to convert in next data frames later. Reading or summarizing data frames. After you import data frame, you would like to quickly understand its structure, shape, meaning of rows and columns. Further, you may want to look at the summary statistics such as mean, percentile, median. Looking at the top and bottom entries of data frame, when you give head, we will get the first 5 values of the data frame. So here you got, as the index starts from 0, here you got 5 values. Tail, you will get the last 5 values. Here each row represents the order placed at retail store. Notice that index associated with each row starts at 0 and ends with 8,398, implying that there were 8,399 orders placed. Looking at the data type of each column, here we are getting the information. So that we have to check their non-null objects or valued. Describing gives you summary of all numeric columns in the data set. So if you want to describe what is there in our data frame, we need to give this function, describe.
Yeah. Here I would like to say one simple point, guys. Like for example, you are gathering data. Machine is crawling the data from a different kind of source, internet source or something. So keep in mind that don't leave any blank rows or columns. Okay. For example, today, whether that particular person is coming or not. Okay. Or sometimes we may not have proper value in that particular column, right? So in that scenario, don't keep it empty. So that is actually a really typical data science process. So write at least nil or not applicable or something. Fill that column. Don't keep it as an empty one. That's what uh, uh, we have to implement in data science. Yeah.
To check column names, the number of rows, to check the number of rows and columns, we have to give the shape of the data. So there are 8,399 and 10 rows, 8,399 columns and 10 rows. You can extract the values of data frame as a numpy array using uh, data frame dot values. Market data frame values. If you ask for the numpy array using the data frame dot values, you are going to get the data type and their object. Index. An important concept in Panda data frame is of row index. By default, each row is assigned index starting from 0 and represented at the left side of the data frame. If you see here, it starts left side 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 are the index. Now, arbitrary numeric index are difficult to read and work with. Thus, you may want to change the index of to something more meaningful. Let's change index to a order ID, unique ID or each order, so that you can select rows using the order IDs directly. You no need to give 0, 1, 2, 3 for each and everything. You can directly convert the first row also. So we can, here we are giving order ID as an index. Having meaningful row label as index helps you to select subset data frame easily. You will study selecting data frames in next section. Sorting data frames. You can sort data frames into two ways, by index and by the values. So here we sorting by index. Axis we have to assign it to 0. Indicates that you want sort rows. Use axis is equal to 1 for column. Market index axis is equal to 0, ascending is equal to false. So here you will get it in the ascending order. You see, so there are again 8,399 rows into 9 columns. As we have applied the index, so they'll show only 9 columns. Sorting by values. Sorting is increasing order. So
Anushka, could you show them actually how you implemented this indexing thing? This one?
here we are assigning axis is equal to 0 and ascending is equal to false. So as we have, I already told you, we can directly take the first row as our index. So here it is taking index value, the first row. And as it is in ascending order, its order starts from 1. And it so from the end it starts from n minus 1. And from first it starts from 0. Uh, is it okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Sorting in a decreasing order of a shipping cost. So we can also check if, individual columns. Uh, Here we are checking the shipping cost in ascending order. Sorting by more than two columns. At the same time, we can check with the two columns. Indexing and selecting data. In section, you will select rows from the data frame, select columns from the data frame, select subsets of a data frame. Selecting rows in a data frame is similar to indexing you have seen in NumPy arrays. The syntax, the index is to end index. Start index is to end index. Will subset rows according to the start and end index. Now we are importing the packages. Again, we are loading data in a CSV format. Here selecting the rows from index 2 to 6. So when when we want to select the rows from 2 to 6, so we have to give it as 2 is to 7. So we can get from 2 to 6.
Ankita, some students ask me, is it possible to explain a little bit slow?
Oh, sorry. Uh, Selecting alternate rows starting from index is equal to 5. So if you want to select an alternate row, Here you can give two columns. 5:2 dot head. So if for head we can get the first five values. So here we are giving a alternate row. So here one skip and other we are getting.
So did
Selecting
you observe, Anshul, just go up. Did you observe here what exactly what we are having? We have a data frame. We have stored some table in a marketing and DF. Okay. So generally, previously, if you run head function, you will see that first top five rows. Okay, the first top one, five rows. Okay, it is fine. It is, even though it is showing only five here. Whenever you are using head, it is going to show only five. Okay, but what I am saying is, don't show from top five, 0 1 2 3 4 5. I don't want that thing. I want start from fifth row. Okay, start from fifth row, and the parameter is skip for each and every two rows. So that's why it is saying that it started from 5, is it after 2 is 7, after 2 9, after 2 11, and after 2 13. So if you want to extract such kind of things, that is also possible. Why I am using this one? What is the use? Okay, for example, generally if you see this currency exchange, okay, uh, currency exchange in Europe to India, okay, Euro to Indian rupees. So sometimes, most frequently, if you see the data, the euro rate is higher in Wednesday and Thursday. Okay, so sometimes maybe different factors. Sometimes it is going to be very high, sometimes it is going to be middle. So the most probable days are Wednesday, sorry, Wednesday and Thursday. Okay, then I want to see, I don't want to see whole data, because every day we have some kind of currency values for each and every country. So I don't want to see all these things. I want to see only on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Then we have to use such kind of a piece of code to see exactly only those days. Okay, so that's why this is a simple example, but if you're in a real scenario, you have really nice implementation of this small piece of code. Yeah. Sorry, you can carry on. Yeah.
Selecting columns. There are two simple ways of selecting a single column from a data frame. So we can define by just giving a column name or data frame dot column name. We can mention it in a square brackets, or we can give it as directly, we can give it by mentioning zero dot. For instance, to select only the columns customer ID, sales, and profit, here we are giving in a square brackets. So customer ID, sales, and profit. So head is first five index. In this case, the output is itself a data frame. Here we are also asking for the type. So here it is a frame, data frame. So it's giving a data frame. Similarly, if you select one column using double square brackets, you will get a data frame, not series. Selecting a subset of selecting subset of data frames. Until now, you have seen selecting rows and columns using the following ways. Selecting rows, data frame start to stop. Selecting columns, we are giving in a square brackets of data frame as column, or we can just give like mentioning a dot. So here, if you want two, three columns, then we have to give with a comma in between. uh, Data frame column or data frame dot column returns a series data, it's a data frame. But pandas does not prefer this way of indexing data frames since it has some ambiguity. For instances, let us try and select the third row of the data frame. So trying to select the third row throws an error. So if we are giving directly the index 2, so it is an error because it is confused. If there is the same number, then it is confused what to give, as it is confused between an index or label. Recall from the previous section that you can change the row index also. Changing the row index to order ID. Uh, as we mentioned, we can change the index to our first row or the other rows. Now imagine you had a column with entries 2, comma 4, comma 7, and you set that as index. What should be data frame 2 return? The second row or the row with the index value 2. Taking an example from this data set, say you decide to assign the order quantity column as index. So order quantity dot head. Now what should data frame 13 return? The 14th row or the row with index label 13? The second row. Because of this and similar other ambiguities, pandas provide explicit ways to subset data frames. Position based on indexing and label based indexing, which we'll study next.
Shyam, I think as name of yeah. In case of you people can yeah, that is also possible. In case of like it is possible to extract with the row as well. Yeah, yeah. Column can we get? Yeah, you think we can extract with row number as well. Yeah.
Position and label based indexing. So here data frame dot I lock and data frame dot lock. You have seen some ways of selecting rows and columns from data frames. Let us now see some other ways of indexing data frames, which pandas recommend, since they are more explicit and less ambiguous. There are two main ways of indexing data frames. Position-based indexing using data frame dot ilock, label-based indexing using data frame dot lock. Using both the methods, we'll do following index operations on data frame. Uh, the, uh, yeah. Selecting single element, selecting single or multiple rows, selecting single or multiple columns, selecting multiple rows and columns. Now load, first we have to load for any project or any thing. First we need to uh, import packages. Then we need to load the data in a CSV file. So position integer based indexing. Pandas provide data frame that ilock functionality in index data frame using integer index. So here we are asking for what is like ilock. So purely it is a purely integer location based indexing for selection and by position. Is a primarily integer position based from 0 to length minus 1 of the axis, but may also be used with a Boolean array. Boolean is like true or false. Allowed inputs are an integer example is 5. A list of an array of integer example are 4, comma 3, 0. A slice object with int is 1 is to 7. A Boolean array, a callable function with one argument. ilock will raise a index error if we requested the indexer is a out of bound. Except slice indexes which allow out of bounds indexing. This confirms that Python NumPy slice semantics. As a method in documentation, the input x comma y to data frame lock x comma y can be an integer, it's example 3, a list or an array of an integer range is from 3 is to 8, a Boolean array. Let us see an example. Selecting a single element. Note that 2 comma 4 corresponds to the third row and fifth column cells. So here we are asking for 2 comma 4. One second. Uh, yeah. Here the output, if we are asking for the 2 comma 4, the index, so iLock it's giving us 4701 in the columns. Note that simply writing data frame 2 comma 4 will not throw an error since pandas gets confused whether the 2 is an integer index, the third row, or it is a row with a label is equal to 2. On the other hand, data frame iLock 2, 4 tells pandas explicitly that it should assume integer index. Selecting a single row and column. Selecting the sixth row with the label and index is equal to 5. So we have to, when we want a sixth row, then we have to give index as 5. And here the data type is object. The above is equivalent to this. It indicates all rows and columns. So if you want indicate all the rows and columns, so we have to give with the column. Select multiple rows using a list of index. When you want to select the multiple rows, then mark it, we have to give it in the form of list. uh, Equal, you can, if you want to select all, then you have to give as it's a I lock 3 comma 7 with a column. Select rows using a range of integer index. Notice that 4 is included, 8 is not. So if 4 should be included and 8 should not, then n minus 1. So here it comes from 4, 5, 6 and 7. Selecting a single column. Notice that the column index starts at 0 and 2 represents the third column customer ID. So here it represents if we want the customer ID from the row column. So we are giving the second one. So in second position there is a customer ID as SHP. Customer ID. So here. No, it's order ID, product ID, ship ID. So we are getting the ship ID here. 012. So in the second position, in third position, we have ship ID. So we are getting, when we give the index 2, we are getting ship ID. Selecting multiple columns. Here, if you want to select a multiple columns, then we have to first give in the form of, if you want all columns to represent, then we have to first give a column, comma 3 column. So we are getting first values and last values in between is using Boolean. This selects the rows corresponding to true. So Boolean is just assigning a true or false values. So if you want a Boolean function, then we have to give true or false. To summarize, data frame dot ilock x comma 5 uses integer index starting at 0. The other common way of indexing is label based indexing, which uses data frame dot lock. Label based indexing. Pandas provide data frame dot lock functionality to index data frames using labels. So if you If you want anything like if you want to ask for any help, then we can get the information of the total why we are using that particular function. Or so here we have asked for help pd.data frame for lock. So here we got a help on property purely label location based indexer for selection by label is a primarily label based but may also be used with a Boolean array. A single label 5 or a, note that 5 is interpreted as a label of the index and never as an integer position along the index. A list or array of labels, example a comma b comma c, a slice of or 1 comma 2 comma 3, a slice of labels. When we, slicing is that assigning the values, index values. A slice object with the to usually Python slices, both the starts and the stops are included. As mentioned in the documentation, the inputs x comma phi to lock x comma y can be a single label, example 3, or row index. A list or an array of labels, example lists are like 3 comma 7 comma 8 or a comma b comma c. A range of labels where row x and row y both are included. A Boolean array. It seems some like example Boolean array like true, false, assigning true, false. Selecting a single element. Selecting a row label is equal to 2 and column label is sales. So when we are asking for the row and the column, here we are getting directly the which it has. Selecting a single row using a single label. Data frame.log reads a 5 as a label, not index or equivalent. Selecting multiple rows using a list of row labels. If you want to select at the same time the multiple rows, then we are giving the rows which we want and or which are equivalently.
Hanska, just hold on 1 second. There is a question. I think, Nitin, by seeing this 18th, I think you can get answer by keeping the colon at the end. Yeah, 18th and 19th. Yeah.
Uh,
Hanska, could you explain this 18th and 19th?
yeah. Hmm. So when we are giving in a square brackets, then we are if we want all the rows 3 comma 7 comma row, we are getting 3 comma 7 comma row, and for this yeah. Col- uh, are you asking why this colon is used?
Yeah.
Okay. As we are selecting from the entire data frame.
Mm. So in fact, actually both are the same, but here it is reading the as entire frame. It is reading actually, and that's why we are keeping the colon indicating the entire thing. Yeah.
Selecting rows using a range labels. Notice that with the data frame dot lock, both 4 and 8 are included, unlike with data frame dot ilock. This is an important difference between ilock and lock. Uh, so here we are giving it as 4 is to 8. So if we are not given column also, we'll get the same. So if you can check, it is like we are getting when we are giving the column, and when we are not giving the column, we are getting all the. But when we give the column, it includes the total data frame. The use of label-based indexing will be more clear when we have custom row index. Let us change the index to order ID. So as I mentioned, we can change the rows directly into an index so that we no need to mention 0, 1, 2 beside our data frame. Selecting order ID is equal to order 5406 and on same column. So yeah, we can directly ask for the order 5406, and we get the sales, profit, and customer ID values. Select multiple orders using labels and some columns. If you want, as before we have only asked for one, now we are asking for the multiple columns. So here we are asking for 3 columns of sales and profit. Sales to profit. Like from here, we can consider sales starts with 0, 1, 2, 3. Order ID starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Using booleans. This selects the rows corresponding to true. Here we are giving true, true, false. So to summarize, we discussed two explicit ways of indexing data frames, dataframe.iloc and dataframe.loc. Next, let us study how slice and dice section of the data frames.
Okay, probably Ritish, I think we are out of the time. Is it right? Okay, probably I think Hanska, we will stop it here. And
Yeah, Ganesh, sorry. Yeah, I think um yeah, if you want to stop, you could actually stop now. Or if there's something that you want to finish in say
yeah,
next 5 minutes,
uh,
you could do that.
actually, don't confuse with these tables. I know linguistics, I mean, they will confuse, oh, what is this numbers and what is this ORD. Don't confuse that. If you open this source data file, you can see the same table. Okay. So that's why yesterday I said to you, in Pandas, writing the code is pretty easy, but understanding the concept is a little bit difficult rather than compared to a Python. So don't confuse it. Please go through. I mean, first, what you have to do is there is a CSV file in the repository. Just open the CSV file. Okay, just open the CSV file and see how this table structured. Okay, so after that, keep this document aside. Okay, and run the simple code. Okay, what this first thing is reading. So here we are reading. Okay, PD read CSV, and that is the source file CSV file. Okay, DF head, data frame head. So the first 5 rows. So go through, if you compare this CSV file besides, we keep the CSV file beside the code and compare it how we are extracting the data from that particular table, then you will get pretty clear concepts. Other, if you see like this, you don't know what exactly the backend file is, how it is retrieving. So keep the CSV file one side and run the code. Okay, uh, and run the code, then you can understand each and everything. Probably the what actually I would like to give you an task is keep the code as it is, like in the Python. Download whatever CS that, just you can go to any internet and set that sample CSV file or something. Okay, download any kind of CSV file, doesn't matter. It need not to be exactly with these columns and rows. Okay, it may be some kind of linguistics data and CSV file, person names and age, or some kind of books. Okay, download any CSV file and try to run each and every code, then you can totally will out of these numbers. Okay, then you will see the person names and some kind. Even something I recently I have seen some phonetic based CSV file. Okay, I mean how one person American pronounce one phoneme, how different this phoneme with Indian pronunciation, something like that. So uh, use such kind of a linguistics data, that is also possible while you are processing this thing. But if you want to understand the pandas, it is really easy, almost easier like a Python. But it deals, as I mentioned, it deals with mostly with tables. So that's why you are seeing a little bit confusion. What is this? But it is nothing. Nothing is there. Very straightforward. If you know basic Python, the same concepts are implementing in pandas as well. So actually, in Python, just we will use head or something. But here we, for each and every time we are using data frame. So because we are saving the data into the data frame format, so that's why we are using df.head, something like that. So nothing is really difficult in pandas, but we are dealing with tables, so we have to be a little bit uh, conscious. So once you adopt this reading tables and all these concepts, it is pretty easy. And I hope you really enjoy this pandas. Okay, and try. There is one exercise. Download any kind of CSV file from your site, like any linguistics data, historical CSV file, or marketing. Okay, so try to implement the same code. The code is similar. Okay, now we didn't implement any machine learning. So simple thing is retrieving, manipulating the data and retrieving the information. So try to implement that thing. And Ansika, you have some kind of homework, right?
Yes.
Could you share the document? And
Can I share in the chat box?
uh, yeah, no, no, I think in Teams you can show the exercise once,
Yeah, yeah, sure.
not in the
Oh,
Teams,
right. Sure. Okay,
in
okay.
Zoom. Yeah.
Mm, okay. Yeah. So this is the exercise. I have even given the hint.
Mm.
So there are 10 questions in this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
When
I
I
think
have given the link to for the CSV file.
okay. Okay. I think you can replace our CSV file with this as well. So no problem. Yeah. One big hint is you can get all the answers in internet, but don't copy, but try to understand. So I really suggest linguistics people, non-computer science people, uh, writing the code is not important. uh, Try to uh, understand the code written by someone else. That is most important. By reading, so while you are practicing, I think it is really useful to non-computer science students. First, understand the code, how he can write. For example, the same problem, two people can write the code in two different ways. So you have to understand the difference. You have to understand the logic. So that is most important for non-computer science students while they are learning a new programming language. So that's why you can get answers for in internet. Even you can copy the answer, but my intention is don't copy and paste and submit. Okay, we will ask something why it is not, why we use only this one. We have to explain what exactly the piece of code is doing. So try to do this basic exercises. Yeah. Ritesh, probably I don't know if Ritesh is here or not. I will send
Yeah,
this
yeah,
doc.
yeah.
I already sent this document to you. So share with other students. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, sure. I'll send them on the group.
Yeah. Yeah. I think.
All right,
Some.
I'll send the collab links also.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mudra is asking for collab links.
Okay. Tomorrow, do you have class, Ritesh?
No, tomorrow is Sunday, so
Tomorrow, Monday, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Monday.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But we have lab if you are at from 3. Oh, you'll have another class from 3, right? So
Yeah. I think I have to teach to students. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, no issues, no issues. Yeah, so we'll meet on Monday then.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay, then see you. See you later.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you once again.